Now, in our third section of Stave 4, we see a couple of situations which kind of outline the way Scrooge was seen. But really, as with the point of Stave 4, it's more about more examples of poverty and wealth. This is a rich man who's left on his own. He's left lying on the bed alone. And that's the point that keeps coming back, alone. This triplet at the end here. Unwatched, unwept, uncared for. Essentially is a summative triplet, summing up the consequences of a life of richness without generosity, like Scrooge has lived. We go further into here. Scrooge, he wants to take the blanket off the top of the face so he can see as it is, but it apparently doesn't have the power to do so. We then get a strange paragraph here where, as we've had several times before, the narrator suddenly involves himself and starts making comments about the effect of death and how it works. And I think the key point here that he makes is that people with an open hand, generosity, and with a brave, warm and tender heart, that's what's important in life when people die. That's what's significant. That's what has the biggest impact on people. Whereas he points out that the person who's dead here, Scrooge as we know later, he asked the question, if you could actually bring the man back to life, what would you be thinking about? Avarice, hard dealing, griping cares, quite possibly. So the sense that he would believe that there is no learning for these people, even in death. They'd just be glad to come back to life and make more money. The house is described as dark and empty throughout, but very empty, to the point that the only sounds you can really go with up here were a cat at the door, tearing at the door, and the sound of gnawing rats underneath. As though he's been left at that level amongst the animals, because that's all he really deserves. Now we move then into an episode that a lot of people forget about. It starts with Scrooge asking to see anybody who feels emotion caused by this man's death. So he's taken to see this person who we discover is called Caroline. She is initially sitting at home nervously waiting for her husband to come home, obviously very worried, as we see here. But when he does come home, well, first of all, we see the effect that his financial struggles have had on him. This is a man who we'll discover in a minute basically is in debt. And so this is the effect, not so much of debt, I suppose, it's a little bit of debt, but it's really more of the lack of care and concern from the debtors, the people who lend the money. So, but what he then appears with is a strange look on his face, and this is going to be important because this is part of what we're looking at, a kind of serious delight of which he felt ashamed. Right, what we've got here, and we're going to see it again with Caroline in a minute, is this idea of good people feeling happy at someone's death. They feel ashamed from it, but it's best summed up here in this kind of oxymoron of serious delight, where his face seems to be mixed between two different emotions. When he reveals the reason for this, the death of the debtor, the lender of the money, what we're told is Caroline's response. She's a mild and patient creature, but she was thankful into her soul to hear of this man's death. Okay, so the extent of his impact in a negative way is seen here. We saw the impact of no one being there at his death, but the extent of his impact in a negative way. She's thankful to hear it. It's made clear, as we move on there, that she has a family, as we mentioned before, and the children are again also happier. It's a happier house for this man's death, which again is intended to be very, very shocking. The only emotion the ghost could show was one of pleasure.